everyone, and welcome back to your favorite baseball talk show, Touching All Bases. I'm Katie Pfeffer, your host and panelist for today, alongside our lovely panel of Kaden, Riley, Drew, and Jackson. Get excited because MLB spring training is officially in full swing, and opening day is just around the corner.
1 month away.
28 days now?
1 month.
Yeah, one month.
1 month.
But anyways, today we've got a lot to dive into. We have our D1 baseball rankings, trade rumors, and of course some hot debates in buy or sell. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Our first segment that we have today is the show before the show, where we're going to talk all about college baseball. So the latest D1 baseball rankings came out, as they do every single week. So I want us to take a look at the top 25 and, who do we think was too low? Who do we think was too high? What do we think about the rankings?
You know, I mentioned this last week, and I talked about Virginia staying at number 2, even after having non-impressive wins and a bad loss. And they have now dropped to number 10 after they now sit at 3-3. And I just saw they lost to Oklahoma in 12 innings, their second extra inning game of the season. So I just like to say that I was right last week about how they shouldn't have been second last week, and now they're already all the way down to 10. So.
Right, yeah, we saw they lost against Oklahoma, which is an unranked team. Well, they're ranked now, but they lost against Oklahoma, and then they lost against Michigan also, and then their other loss was against Oregon State, which is number 9. But if you look at all the other teams in the rankings, they don't have any more than 2 losses, and Virginia's here sitting at 3 or 3. So yeah, there's no way that they should still be at 2. But I think what was interesting is, so they lost to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is now ranked number 16 after not being ranked, which I think is a crazy jump, because normally it's like they're not ranked and then they go to 25, 24, but all the way to 16 is kind of crazy. But they beat number 7 Oregon State, and then they also beat UVA, as we were just saying. So I guess makes sense. And they're 6-0, so they haven't lost yet, and they've beat 2 really good teams.
I would love to talk about a different team. I would love to segue into Ole Miss. They are currently ranked at 24 in the rankings, and I don't hate 24, but I think they should be like a little bit higher, because they did what other teams can't do. They took care of business in the little games. They beat Arkansas State, Eastern Kentucky 3 times. They beat Southern Miss, and then they had a little loss to Texas 10-0, and then they've rebounded right away, beating now number 13 Clemson by a scoreline of 15-5. They also beat, in the very first game of the season, a number 21 Arizona 2-1.
I picked Oklahoma State in my top 5 for the way too early rankings earlier. They were 16th at 1-3. They won 3 straight and dropped out of the top 25. Thought that was interesting. Winning 3 straight and falling down 9 spots.
That sucks.
It's very strange.
That's actually.
I didn't see who they beat, but
It does depend who they beat, though. Because they beat
I don't
Scrubs.
know, but
They beat Scrubs, but yeah, winning 3 straight after being 16th, I feel like, yeah, they definitely beat like nobodies and stuff. But they beat Albany Christian, UT Arlington twice, yeah. So they beat crap teams, but I don't know, winning 3 straight at the number 16 team, they can move down like 20, maybe a little bit because other teams jumped them. But I don't know, I thought that was interesting. I want to talk about Clemson though, because we won 5 straight, and this is Clemson. We're 13th in the country. Katie wrote an amazing article on the Tiger, so shout out Katie. Please read it, and then you'll see how we're doing so well and why we're playing so well. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think one other team to shout out really quickly is Southern Miss, which I didn't even really know Southern Miss was a college.
Wow.
Haven't really heard of it. But here they are, number 22 on the rankings. They beat Mississippi State, who is ranked number 18. And then as Drew said, Ole Miss also beat them. But I think a real test is they're going to play TCU this weekend, who's ranked number 25 and has consistently been in the top 25 rankings for the past 3 weeks. So I'm excited to see how this Southern Miss and TCU series turns out.
Speaking of teams that I didn't know existed, shout out to Dallas Baptist, because I've never heard of you, but I think
I know about Dallas Baptist.
I think they're like consistently in like the D1 like high rankings.
Yeah. No, Dallas Baptist is pretty good at baseball.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about Virginia, but I feel like Drew kind of hit it on the head. A 3-3 team should not be in the top 10, nor less the top 25 right now. They're just not playing entirely great ball. I mean, they've got they open up the season with the loss against Michigan, and then they beat Villanova and Rice. They're expected to beat these teams. They had a game against George Washington. That was canceled. And then they played Oregon State and only lost 2-7. So this team is just so inconsistent with its play because they'll play the number 7 team in the nation and only lose by 5 points. But yet they'll play Michigan and they'll go into 11 innings and only lose by 1 run. So there's just a lot of inconsistency with this team right now, it looks like. And I think the loss to Oklahoma, yet again, 12 innings. They have played 2 extra inning games this year, and they've all been very close, ending with the same score, 4-5. So it seems like with these, top teams, they're battling really close with them. But for some reason, the inconsistencies with even just the smaller teams and just getting blown out or just beat outright is a little bad. Now, I want to see they have a 3-game stretch against Dartmouth, which is an Ivy League school. If they lose one of those games to Dartmouth, I think they should drop out of the top 25 entirely, because you lose to an Ivy League school in baseball, that's kind of sad.
I agree.
That's an insane
Wait,
take.
who loses?
No, I
If they
agree.
lose 1 game to Dartmouth, they
who
should
loses
be
to
out of the
Dartmouth?
rankings completely.
They're 3-3, and they lose to an Ivy League school
If
in
who loses-
baseball.
They would be
Absolutely,
5
should
and
be
3.
out of.
I don't know if they should drop out entirely, since I don't know. For one loss, because baseball is so subjective. You're saying 1 loss, that's going like
Anything
1
can
and
happen in
3.
baseball.
That's going like
Baseball's
1
so
and
Good
2.
take.
They're
That's
already they're
so
already
random.
3-3 with.
If they're 1 and 2, that's
What
a
team?
like a .66
yeah,
winning
Virginia.
percentage.
Virginia.
A
Yeah.
.66 winning percentage, and that is amazing for baseball. So I think 1 loss is crazy. I say 2 losses.
I'll kind of explain that. With a loss to Dartmouth, I think either way, even though no matter what your record is, that's kind of sad. But the fact is, they've started off the season 3-3 with big losses against some big teams.
No, I am going to.
I just think that already with this 3-3 record, they shouldn't.
What?
They
Who
should
are-
be.
who are they
on
playing?
25. They're playing Dartmouth.
Dartmouth. Okay, word. Cool.
Yes.
You said Dartmouth.
Hush.
Twice.
What's it? What's this?
It's whatever.
I thought we just correct Jackson.
Yeah.
Correct anyone.
Yeah, now we're just correcting me now.
Well, none of us
Well, we
mispronounce
were wrong
anything. Well, you're the
last
one that mispronounces words, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, next up we have 3 to see, where we talk about 3 things or moments that you need to know about from around baseball. So first up, the Dodgers are 2-5 in spring training, and they are currently losing to the Rockies.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Serious?
0-2 last time I checked, right before the show started. So is this something or is this nothing? Should we be worried for the Dodgers?
I was gonna say things are looking rocky today for the Dodgers.
Ah.
But whatever.
Ah,
They are.
Who pitched today? Matt.
I don't see. I'm not scared at
He's
all
blind.
of the Dodgers.
Does not see.
I do not see. That is not one of my 3 to see. But I do want to ask y'all real quick. At what point in the season would y'all give up on the Dodgers as contenders? Like if they were 5-10.
So
we're all still in on the
I'll
Dodgers.
just say during the Braves World Series year in
Never mind.
2021, the Braves didn't reach 500 until August. So
Yeah.
I don't know how bad the Dodgers have to be in August for me to say that.
Hold your whiteboards up real quick.
Hold
your
them
whiteboard.
up?
Yeah, hold your whiteboards up real quick. All right.
Mine doesn't.
Put them down, but
No,
their
I can't.
Dodgers are not contenders. Okay.
oh, wow.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I like this.
No, I can't.
You can't? Okay. Okay. All right, well, hold up this way then. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
hold
right. 5-10. 5-20. 10-35. 15-50.
Oh, I'm down. I think I might be down.
Oh, I think I was down 1 before that. I
10
just
and
didn't-
35?
15 and
Yeah,
50.
Okay.
10
I
and
think
35
I
I'm
think I'm
down.
down
35?
5 and 25.
Okay. I think 15-50.
I'm down
I think
5 and
10
30.
and 35. I'm like, I don't know. I'm scared.
I don't know if I'm down 5 and 25. I think I would be down 4 and. I think once they drop under 200.
I got you.
Yeah.
And
Mine-
5 and 25 is right at 200.
I got
They're only winning 5 games after 30.
After 35
Yeah,
games.
This is 1 month of
Yeah,
baseball,
that's
so I was
bad.
trying to be as radical as I could. All right, 5 and 25, we're kind of giving up. That's around that range. Okay, I got you. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
'Cause 2 and 5 in spring training, I'm still bought in.
I mean,
what would you say, Kaden?
I think that's about right. I'd say 10 and 35. I guess that's very different. 10 and 35, I'd say is my number.
10 and 35.
10 and
I
35.
mean-
I would say
What would their
if they
winning
have like a
percentage be?
really bad losing record by like late June, then I think I'll give up on them.
July is whenever I lose.
10 and 35 is a better winning percentage than 5 and 25.
But that's more like that's farther in the future too, though. I think
Okay.
at that point.
I feel like
That's about a third into the season or a quarter into the season.
I would say if a team is like just at 500 or a little below, I wouldn't give up on them until like maybe August. I
Yeah.
would say probably.
And I think the Dodgers would get to 500 around August if they were 10 and 35.
I mean, I don't think the Dodgers being 2 and 6 in spring training, I don't think that's as big of a deal because spring training, blah, blah, blah. But Mookie Betts has played almost every single game. He hasn't done well. He went 0 for 3 today. Their new signing, Ha-Seong Kim, has done awful. He's gone 1 for 12. Glasnow pitched the other day. He gave up 2 runs in 1 inning.
Oh.
And then in their first spring training game, Yamamoto wasn't sharp. So it definitely hasn't been impressive. They've also lost. Like, they've been blown out pretty much every game besides, like, this one. But, like, their opponents have scored many runs in all of their losses. So it's definitely something to look at, but if it's, like, it's nothing, like,
Right.
huge.
I
It's
mean,
the
and
Dodgers.
it's spring training.
Yeah.
You know, you're not really trying to win games in spring training. You're just trying to get guys warmed up. So wins or losses, yeah, they can mean something, but at the end of the day.
And, like, when your main guys aren't performing well, that's something to look at, but still.
I feel like spring training, when it comes around, the record really doesn't matter. It's just how your guys are performing. That's what
Yeah.
you need to be worried
Yeah.
about.
I think it's a good way to look at like your farm system and stuff. See, like you always spot a couple of AAA guys that you're like they might get caught up this year. I think
Yeah.
that's the best thing
Yeah.
with spring training.
Yeah, it's really just like a tryout for the farm system to make
Yeah.
it. That's really what it is.
Well, next up for 3 to see, we have rumors of Nolan Arenado going to the Astros. Do we think this is realistic? And if so, do we think this could, really push the Astros over the edge and make them a World Series contender?
I think this is very realistic. World Series
Yeah.
contender. He laughed at that. Sorry, that was funny.
What I said, my implications with that sentence is that they are not World Series contenders.
He laughed at it. I'm not laughing at
Okay,
that. He laughed
yeah,
at it.
I'm being
I think-
a realistic Astros.
I think it's a very I think it's a realistic thing to happen with Arenado going there because obviously they just lost out on
Bregman.
Bregman.
Yeah.
They just lost out on Bregman. They have Paredes at third, but I saw that he could move to second, slide in Arenado. Even though Arenado has declined in recent years, he had a WAR of 2.4 in 2023, 2.5 last season, which were his lowest since 2013. But I mean, it would be. I don't know if y'all want to pay that price or give up the whatever you have to give
Yeah.
up for him. But
I mean, if it was like free agency, I think that would be something different. But we've already made 2 major trades. Like we've already, traded away Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley. We've traded away some other pieces in those trades. And so I'm like, who else do we have left to trade for someone like Nolan Arenado? And I don't think the Astros should be willing to give up anyone for Nolan Arenado. I don't think it's worth like depleting the farm to get one player that's had, as you said, like a 2 WAR the past 2 seasons. Because what signs are pointing that he's going to play well this season? Like, yes, of course, Nolan Arenado is one of the best players, like, one of the better players in
best
baseball.
defensive players of all time.
Right. But I think at this point in time, I don't think it would be smart to trade him. I think what you would have to give up to make that trade go through just wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah, it's interesting that he'd be willing to waive his no trade clause for y'all.
Yeah.
But like no one else.
Interesting. Does anybody have anything else to add?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not
I
really.
want to talk about the rankings. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the most exciting part of the 3 to see is that MLB has finally released its top 100 players. So who do we think is overrated? Who do we think is underrated? And if we had to make a top 5, who would we put?
Acuna 16 is so stupid. I want to start with that. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Please start
I
with
know
that.
he came off of an injury and stuff, but first of all, this list is wildly inconsistent. I think it's such a weird mix of like Freddie Freeman is 8th because of what he did in the playoffs.
I agree with
so
that.
I guess they're severely valuing the playoffs. He was 44th in WAR last year. He was 27th in batting average, and he was what?
You
like
gotta
80th in
remember,
home runs?
Severely valuing the playoffs? We got to judge it too.
Freddie
That's what I'm saying.
Freeman.
That's inconsistent. They're severely valuing the playoff.
Freddie
What do you do?
Freeman missed time because his son was going through that.
Absolutely.
that
He's also
thing.
very old, and I think projecting into this year, I could.
Old.
Yes.
He's 33.
He's 33. He could fall off this year. He is,
Have you seen Charlie Morton?
He is a career like 315, 320 hitter. He hit 282 last year because he's getting older. He's getting
282 is
slower.
Because he's
Yeah.
been stressed
Because
out.
he lost his
Is
son's
282
in the
top
hospital.
8 in the MLB? 282 with 20 home runs is not top 8 in the
Because he missed time, he was focused on other stuff, and he turned around and he played on a pretty much broken ankle and won World Series MVP.
If you value the playoffs, Aaron Judge should be lower. If you're not valuing the playoffs, Aaron Judge is in a good spot, and Freddie Freeman should be lower. It's such an inconsistent mix of playoff bias and playoff not bias. They move players up too high. It's a ridiculous list.
Freddie should be top 10. I will stand on that statement. Freddie is a top 10 player and has been for a long time.
You can get a 280 hitter with 20 home runs like any day. That is
280
every
hitter,
team
but he
has
missed
multiple
almost
of
a
those guys.
month of play. If he's still hitting 280 with almost a month gone and a kid in the hospital, yes, that's deserving of top 10.
Let me pull up. Y'all can say something. Let me pull them up by year.
I'm gonna say the top 10, and I want y'all to just say, would you put them higher or would you put them
Perfect.
I love
Or
that.
just
Okay.
perfect.
Let's go.
Or yeah, just keep them where they are. Okay, so number 1, Otani.
He's
Perfect.
staying.
Perfect.
2, Judge.
Perfect.
3, Bobby Witt.
It's fine.
Lower.
It's fine. I'd go one spot
No,
lower.
good.
but
Oh,
it's
good.
fine.
I was like,
Good,
oh,
'cause I know
wow.
they were about to say something.
Okay, Juan Soto at 4.
Lower.
Higher.
Lower.
Fine.
Okay.
God, so stupid.
Mookie Betts at 5.
Lower.
Lower.
He had a 4.8 WAR last season. Lindor.
For the love of Lord.
Not
Lower.
like that, but
Yeah,
I like that.
Okay, I have a question. I have a
A
question.
little bit lower.
Mookie Betts or Lindor?
Mookie.
Mookie.
Lindor.
Ooh, okay.
Mookie over Lindor.
I'm going Lindor.
I'm going Lindor.
Yeah, Lindor.
I'd rather go
Mookie.
Mookie.
Yeah. Lindor at 6 is not like offensive. I just like how Witt I would put it like 4. He's 3. Lindor I'd put it like 9.
What has Mookie done and what has Lindor done?
Lindor has
2025. In 2025,
Lindor has
Lindor's
0
Yeah, 2025.
All-Star
Mookie
appearances.
has
Lindor has 0
more than
MVPs,
Lindor.
0 even
I'm-
close to being
0
MVPs.
I'm playing
Lindor has been
Lindor
the
has
greatest
zero-
B-plus player in the MLB for the last like 5 years.
Lindor has 0
Way B+.
gold
Juan Soto's
gloves.
the Michael Jordan of B-plus players. He's just like bat like 270 and get a lot of walks and stuff.
I'd put him like A-.
I think I would put, like, just at this current time, based off of how each of them performed last season and how I think they're going to perform next season, I would put Lindor higher. Overall, better player, I would choose
I don't really look at last season. I'm just looking at like who do I think is going to have a better season. I think Lindor will have a better season. Than
I see a Mets collapse, so I cannot put
I think
Lindor
we'll both
top
have a better
five.
season than Freddie Freeman.
Okay,
Well,
well,
let's hope Lindor can make his first All-Star appearance.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, okay, Alvarez is at 7, higher or lower?
That's fine.
it's fine.
That's fine.
It's inoffensive.
Freeman is at 8, higher.
That's fine.
Way
Keep it.
lower.
That's
Keep
keep it. Honestly,
Keep it.
keep
Fine.
it.
Keep
Way
it.
lower.
Okay, J Ram at 9.
I don't
higher or
understand.
lower?
I don't
Higher.
understand the J Rams.
I don't understand
Higher.
that one.
Give me a higher.
Higher?
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
high.
okay.
Higher? All right.
Okay, and then last but not least, Gunnar Henderson at 10.
Go a little
higher
higher.
or lower?
Go a little higher.
Higher.
Yeah.
Higher for
I think so.
sure.
I think keep him.
He had a 9.1 WAR, which is higher than half the players I just named on that list.
Yeah, I just want to bring up. I don't know why. Okay, so number 19 and 20 is Wheeler and Sale. Why are we putting Wheeler above Sale, who just won a Cy Young award?
Yeah, I don't understand.
I
that.
think they're
I
comparable.
don't understand that.
No.
Yeah.
And then why is Seager one behind Acuna? Where is that? How is that even like?
If
even close?
right now your phone buzzes, Ronald Acuna was traded for Corey Seager, it'd be one of the worst trades of the last 10 years. Like that they're not comparable players.
I would
They're not-
legit trade
yeah.
fan bases.
It's insane. Yeah,
I'd leave
exactly.
the Braves.
And then
If
also,
you became a Rangers fan, I would kick you off the show.
and then also, Ellie De La Cruz
fire.
being above Matt Olson and Austin Riley
That's
is
insane.
so
That's
delusional,
ridiculous.
so disgusting.
Again, who's gonna have a better season, Matt Olson or Ellie De La
Matt
Cruz?
Olson, because it's 2025, an
Absolutely.
odd year.
Matt Olson.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt Olson.
Exactly.
Odd year.
Yeah.
Matt Olson is one of the best top 10 player. I'm just kidding.
I
That's
put it.
not true.
We're
Olson
staying
is
on
the most-
We're staying on the Braves. I'll
Off-year
throw
Matt
Ozuna
Olson's
ahead of Ellie
insane.
De La Cruz too.
I also want to say, why is Ozzy Albies not ranked? Ozzy Albies is not ranked in the top 100.
You've been trashing him a little bit in this house.
Ozzy Albies, when have I ever
As a
said
second
anything?
baseman, you've been talking about we don't got great, so we could get a second
said
baseman.
we had
It
Short
wasn't
stop.
Ozzy Albies.
Shortstop.
Yeah.
I love Ozzy.
Ozzy batted over 2.2.
Okay, I was thinking the right thing. I said the wrong thing.
Ozzy is
you've
a
been saying we
top
could bring in a
5
shortstop.
second baseman.
We talked about
He's
players.
not even in the top 100.
We talked-
You said we should get Willie Adames, and I said we have Ozzy,
Shortstop.
and you said,
I didn't.
Yes,
He
you
did
did.
not say that.
Yes, we talked
He
about
never
I
it.
don't
said
think
this.
he can go over to shortstop.
I don't trash Ozzy ever.
He
We
doesn't
talked
play
to-
shortstop.
You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about Roku Sasaki at 100.
Oh my
There's
God.
no reason.
No.
Why? He's
No
he-
reason.
He
That
is,
doesn't make sense.
if I'm making a list of guys I want to have, Roki Sasaki's in my top 100 for sure. I'd rather have. Look, I'll go to that realm. Okay. Would you rather right now your phone buzzes and your team gets Paul Goldschmidt or Roku Sasaki? Wyatt Langford or Roku Sasaki? Nolan Arienda? I'd rather have Roku Sasaki than all these guys. Jacob
Nolan
DeGrom or
Arienda.
Roku Sasaki?
My favorite player.
All I'm saying is,
There
if
you go.
Sasaki's in the top 100, then just at this point,
Put Ozzy.
At this point, put Jackson Hall.
Yo,
at
put
this
Eric
point.
Sim in the top
seriously.
100.
Put Cooper Flag in the top 100 of that.
I
point.
swear,
Yeah,
at
sure,
this point.
exactly. Yeah.
He hasn't
There you
played
go.
professional. I mean, he's played
He has to
Japanese
play-
professional
he
baseball,
played
but he hasn't
elite-
played the majors
He played elite professional baseball.
in Japan,
Yes.
but not
I
majors.
just-
I personally, I think like
I think there's been history of
I
guys
think
going from
it
Japan to
would
America
be
and finding
a
success.
little different if he was in the top 100, if he was a hitter and then he was named number 100. But pitching, it's like you can see how fast they're pitching. You can see pitching is like. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Pitching
How I'm
shouldn't-
trying to explain it. Pitching is easier to tell how they'll perform in the MLB than hitting from league to league.
Yeah.
If that
I
makes
think-
sense, because pitching is a lot more like subjective.
I think if you want to say he's not in the top 100 because he hasn't played, that's valid. But if you're going to put him in, 100 is ridiculous. Because if you're putting him in, then you're saying he counts. And if he counts, he's better than most of these players.
I feel like they were just like, oh, I don't really know who to put. Let's just put Roki Sasaki at 100.
I feel like they're trying to get clicks.
I feel like pitchers are more
They're
susceptible.
trying to.
It's a marketing-based top 100, I think.
They're trying to put big names up higher and stuff. They're forcing up bigger names. There's a lot of recency bias on the list. It drives me crazy.
This is just what.
My biggest concern is Ozzie Albies not being ranked.
The
Acuna's
Ozzie
my
Albies
biggest
hate
concern.
needs to stop. He's a top 100 player. It's
crazy.
ridiculous.
He's a top 5 second baseman.
Well, who's the top 10 second baseman list? Have they released that yet?
Yes, and
I want to watch.
Acuna,
I'll continue.
I hate
I'm
Acuna
just
the
gonna
most.
do it.
That's the
Okay,
worst.
well, I don't think I could like ever agree with anybody else's rankings because rankings are, I don't think, very subjective. Everyone's
Yeah,
gonna
let's
have
read it
also
out.
what they
Nico
value
Horner.
the most.
Nico Horner is in there. Nico Horner is in there.
Again,
That's insane.
who would you rather have
Nico
on your
Horner's
team?
in the top
Yeah.
100.
Nico Horner, Zach. I don't know how to say Geloff.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the Oakland A's, right? Or he was.
Yeah.
Edouard Julian.
See, that's
Never
what
heard
I'm
of that
talking
guy.
about.
And Sasaki's 100.
Okay, I've heard
Why?
of. Okay,
Seriously, it's really concerning.
okay, come on. Ketel
It's a
Marte. Are you kidding me?
marketing-based.
Ketel Marte is good. Ketel Marte is a top 5.
Okay, Ketel Marte. Okay, I get that, but still overall,
No,
this list is insane.
It's, a
It's just
What
It's-
number is Albies at?
he's not on
Marcus
there.
Semien.
Yeah, Albies didn't make it at all.
In top 10.
Marcus
first
Marcus
baseman. I thought you said
Semien.
he wasn't
He's in the top 100.
He isn't.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Marcus
Okay.
Semien.
Why
I thought I saw Marcus.
Why
Semien
is
on the
Jose
list.
Altuve on the list if he plays left?
Yeah, Marcus Semien is 62nd on this list, and Ozzie Albies didn't make it.
Yeah, Jose Altuve's in the top 10 second baseman.
Oh, why did they show that video? That's so mean. They showed the video of him breaking his hand from the World Baseball Classic as a video.
Legit, everyone else has highlights. It's him, I guess, hitting a home run, and then him hitting a second home run, and then him getting hit in the hand.
That's so mean.
It's legit a home run, a flop, and a walking backwards sadly.
Oh
to the
my gosh.
sideline.
Okay. Well, anyways, I don't think there's any rankings that anyone else does that we could agree on. So
But these were
if we had to
especially
make
bad.
our own rankings, our own top 5, what would y'all put?
So I kept the top 3, and I inserted Acuna into the top 5 because I know that he's coming back from injury, but he's come back from an injury before the same injury, and he won an MVP. So we need to take that into account. And he is, when healthy, I know he's not healthy right now, but I have full confidence that he'll come back healthy 100%. He's a top 5. He was number 1 his MVP season. He was better than Ohtani's MVP season. So Acuna number 4, and then I have Gunnar Henderson moving up from 10 up to 5 because of he's just a great player, and I jump him over the rest of whoever he's beneath.
I have the top 4 actually. So I have Ohtani, Judge, Witt, and Soto as well. And Soto was so consistent during the season. He was just a hitter. I mean, he was our guy.
Hey, let's talk about defense.
Defensively,
Hey, let's talk about that defense.
He was a little outlier. But I mean, I think
A little
he
outlier.
did so much on the hitting side that it didn't really matter.
On getting on basing side.
Yes.
Yeah, like walks.
Yeah, hitting. He's like your third best player. Averaging
Man,
third
I
best player,
love
yeah.
watching someone walk over to first
I love
base.
watching him stand over and shuffle back and
I
forth
love
and
the
then take
Soto
4
shuffle.
balls and then
Okay.
get to first
Whoa,
base.
that
I
really-
get that part.
He's a smart player.
Okay, I get
what
that
you have
part.
to
No,
do.
he's incredibly savvy.
He's a two-tool player.
The fact that his talent it's kind of like Shea. Like the fact that his talent is boring shouldn't discredit him. I don't think, but it is boring. It's 400%.
I feel like if we're taking into account Soto's fielding, then why do we have Ohtani at number 1 even though he's not pitching? Like,
Defense.
I feel like that's how kind of
Care.
That's kinda how that is.
Defense.
He is now.
I kind of do.
he is now.
It's a fun tiebreaker if you really can't decide on players, defense. But I don't think it should be. It's not. I don't think you're winning or losing more or less games usually off of defense.
Well,
As much with
The Yankees lost the World Series
think
off of
like a
defense.
320 hitter versus a 280
He
hitter.
lost the defense off the
Like
jump.
I don't care how bad his on base percentage is 420. So if someone's on base percentage is like 370 and they're a great defender, I'd rather have the 420. I'd rather have that 5% increase, 100%.
My 5 is Tyreek Skubal. He had.
Pitchers should not be in top 10.
That's not. He
10?
was so consistent throughout the whole season.
Think about what-
throughout the whole playoffs.
They play 1 day a week. They should not.
You know who else plays 1 day a week? Patrick Mahomes. Okay.
You know who else
Tom
plays
Brady.
1 day a week?
Because that's what everyone
Muhammad
does.
everyone
Muhammad Ali
does.
played like once a month. Yeah.
Everyone in
Phelps
football
once every
plays
4
once a
years.
month.
If you
Dang.
play once a week and you kill it, that once a week 20 times.
20.
Again.
You're playing 20 games
Top 10, Riley?
out of 162
Also-
that everyone else plays.
Also, yes, Scooball had an amazing season last season.
Yeah,
But
18-4.
we're putting the top 100 players. This is not just saying the top 100 players last season. This is saying
In
the top
2025.
100 players right now, like who we think is going to be the best. And I think, if you want to rank a player really high, they have to kind of have somewhat of a resume.
Like you're
Especially
putting,
for a pitcher.
You're putting,
Resume.
No, I'm not
Bobby
talking about a
Witt?
resume. I'm talking about who's going to play better in 2025. Who's going to have a better season in 2025? I think Scooball. I don't have Scooball in my top 5.
I think
but wrote him
Scooball
down
is going to
for
have a
some
top 5 season in 2025.
I
think
agree
so.
with that.
I think
mean,
in terms of
as a pitcher, yeah.
in terms of what
As
they do for
a
their team,
player.
Just because
As
you're a pitcher
player.
does not discredit you from the top 5.
Scooball is going
No.
to do more.
He
You
is
should
going to
not.
have a more
Tigers.
valuable season than Gunnar Henderson will, in my opinion.
I think Scooball is going to mean more for the Tigers than Gunnar will for the Orioles this year. I think.
No, the Orioles need him.
Yeah, he's more valuable, I think.
Yeah, because they got rid of their.
Yeah,
they have
the
no
Orioles
pitching.
really just have Gunnar Henderson. now.
Oriole has.
But putting a pitcher
Riley?
who only
No, no, no,
pitches
no, no,
no. Yeah.
over
Riley,
players,
no, go back
stop.
to that.
Over players who hit, play defense, run bases, do multiple things, and you're just putting a pitcher who just throws a ball
I'm going
once
off of
a
value.
week.
I'm going off
Once
of
a week.
value.
If a pitcher sucks, the
If
game
they're playing-
changes completely.
Say a pitcher's pitching 20 games,
they
an
go 18,
average player is
2.
playing 8 times more than them.
You're putting
And they're playing the whole 9 innings, not just 7 or
you're putting a
5 or
player
6.
who only
Every
plays
game
once
the
an inning
Tigers
over a player who
started
plays
Scooball,
twice.
it felt like an automatic win for the Tigers. An 18-4 record, that swings so many games. A pitcher, when the pitcher is playing, they're 5 times more valuable than an elite batter, and then they play
Yes.
1/5 of the games.
Well, I bet
your
you could
offense-
say, so you're saying that you think Scooball is going to be more beneficial for the Tigers. So how many wins do you think he's going to have? Say like
Let's say let's say 18-4. Same runs back.
he's going to have 18 wins. So do you think that I think that for the Orioles there's going to be 18 games where I don't know, say Gunnar Henderson has a 3-run home run and they win 5-2. Like they would have lost if they didn't have that home
I
run
don't think there's going to
from
be 18
Henderson.
games where Henderson has a 3-run home run. I don't think
I'm
so.
not saying a 3-run home run. I'm
Or
saying
like-
there's going to be 18 games where something that Henderson did, they wouldn't have won without
I think
him.
when you go through the box score, you point to games where it's like, oh, Henderson won in that game. I don't think there'll be 18 of those.
But there's so many different opportunities for Gunnar Henderson to win in that game, whether it's on defense or offense. Like Scooball only has
How
defense.
many? Okay,
to
there's
win
27 outs. How many outs is an elite defender swaying in a game? Like think about of the 20, like an elite defender where it's like, okay, a average defender would have not gotten that out. This player got it. Maybe half an out a game. Like I would say of 27 outs. There's 27 outs in a baseball game. Okay, you have give me a Golden Glove winner.
Nolan Arenado.
Okay, give me an average defender.
Or,
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge. Okay.
that's not average.
How many outs is Nolan Arenado getting a game that Aaron Judge was not going to get?
I'm not comprehending this.
I
don't have time.
I know,
We need to.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't got time for this.
Well, we'll make this another segment potentially that we actually have time to debate it
Like a
about. But
quarter out of it.
anyways, I'll talk about my top 5 really quickly. So number 1, I have Ohtani. Number 2, I have Judge. Pretty self-explanatory. 3, I have Soto. I put Soto at 3 because
I'm gonna do that too.
he had a 7.9 WAR last season, which is, I believe, let me see what that is.
Scout.
That is the 6th highest in baseball as of last season. 2 players that were ahead of him were actually Witt and Henderson, but I went ahead and I put Soto above just because he obviously has more experience in the league and he has like a bigger resume, so I trust him more to have another elite year, whereas Witt and Henderson, they both had amazing years last year, but they've only had that one amazing year, so they don't have that reputation to know and to trust that they're going to keep it up and perform just as well in 2025.
I put lines on mine because I think tiers are so important for this top 5 because I think there's a lot of guys that I can group together. And the guys, I have Ohtani 1, and I think there's a drop off there. I think it's very clearly number 1.
Absolutely.
Then I have Judge here. I think there's a drop off there. I don't think there's an argument between Acuna, Witt, and Judge. And then I have Acuna and Witt. I don't want to talk about Acuna or Witt because I really don't know. I put Acuna ahead of him because he's had that MVP season and that resume. He's also coming off of an injury, so it's hard to do. And then I feel like I wish it was top 4, this would be way easier. When you put in a 5, it got so hard for me. Vladdy, Gunnar, Scooball, and Soto. I really feel like Vladimir Guerrero had about 320 with 30 home runs. Overall, I wanted to mention him. He's also a Blue Jay. Of course, shout out the Blue Jays. It's absolutely incredible. I wanted to bring him up in the top 5. I put him 5th, but I think Scooball at 5th also makes a lot of sense. He went 18-4. pitchers is the quarterback of baseball. They only play once a week, but they're 5 times more valuable when they play.
Quarterbacks and pitchers are just not a comparison.
When
That
Scooballs
makes no sense.
That's
when Scooballs
I'm with him. I'm with him on that.
The pitchers are the quarterbacks of baseball because they play once a week.
No,
you
no,
could
no.
also say
No,
that.
like
in terms of
wide
positional
receivers.
value.
all the games.
In terms of positional value, like think about this. Think about a second baseman that's elite versus one that's crappy. That doesn't impact the game as much as like a Scooball versus a horrible pitcher.
I can see kind of where he's going with this. It's
Yes.
like if
Do you
it's
wanna
like if a
scratch the
quarterback
buy or
throws an
sell and just
interception.
keep going with this.
Like, think about
Move it
it.
to next week.
we're at like 23.
Yeah.
I think the buy or sells would be quick though.
Think about like
Yeah.
dude, give me Matt Olson to Ben Rice, okay, versus Scooball to like Nestor Cortez. You're in much more trouble when you go from Scooball to Cortez. One batter doesn't impact the game as much. You could go from an elite batter to a bad one, and it's not going to hurt.
Oh,
as much.
well, a batter can
When
end
they're
the
playing.
game just like that.
When they're playing.
A batter can end a game.
And a pitcher can also win the game just like that.
No. I'm talking about walk-offs. A batter can walk it off and end the game just like that.
Yes, but if the pitcher
Can a
throws a
pitcher
strikeout,
do
game
that?
over.
Any batter can do that though. Ben Rice can do that. Any batter can do that.
This is so dumb.
If your lineup card goes from Matt Olson to Ben Rice, that sucks. If you go from Scooball to Nestor Cortez, your team got a lot worse on that one day. For that
one day.
For that one day. Yes,
That
I'm talking
one day.
I'm talking when they're playing, they're just as valuable as a quarterback.
That one day.
When they're playing, a pitcher just as valuable as a quarterback.
But
The
they're
whole
not
football thing
playing
is
that
just-
often.
The whole football thing is not helping you.
I know what he's saying.
I'm talking on days that they're playing.
can
I
explain
don't think
Okay.
anyone disagrees
Well,
with me.
anyways,
I feel like I'll just
I
change the
think
argument.
that we could talk about this and go in circle for hours, and I'm getting bored of arguing about it.
I think y'all agree with me and you're
No.
changing the argument.
No.
On the day
I don't think they
I agree.
understand
I'm
the
actually-
argument.
No, I
I'm 100% on Kaden.
I
don't
actually
think I agree
just
with
like don't respond well to yelling, so I've just kind of zoned out. But anyways, finally we have our fan favorite segment, Buy or Sell, where I say a statement and then we either buy or sell that take. So first we have removing the beard policy was good for the Yankees.
This is a big buy for me.
Okay.
Absolutely. You had to do this. You had players like Devin Williams complaining to the management. You had other players complaining as well. But I agree with what the general manager said. He said you cannot look like Duck Dynasty. You have to keep it well groomed and you have to be like well presented. And I agree with that because New York Yankees is a very like you have to present yourself well and you're a very classy team and you just have to show that.
Classy.
Classy.
We try to be classy. We're a classy team. We try to show
Well,
professionalism.
maybe their fan base should try to be classy too.
The team is classy. Fans
Our
aren't.
team is classy. Our fan base is other than that. I mean, it's a.
Dude.
Drew,
I
your
don't
fan
think
base is the
anything
farthest
about the
from classy.
Yankees is classy.
Drew, if just some giant dude came in with some disgusting beard and hit like 300 and batted
Brandon
45
Marsh.
home runs, you'd be like, this dude is
Brandon Marsh. Get
you'd be like,
Brandon
this
Marsh
dude is
on the
so
Yankees
sick.
right
I
now.
love this guy. Like he'd be such a fan favorite. Like it's just, I'm buying. Absolutely. I mean, I think that most everything, all the like traditional like stuff the Yankees do, I think is pretty dumb. In the 1950s, owners had a big problem. Players were getting exciting and like people liked players a lot, which meant that they would maybe deserve more money and more contracts. So if you make your team like a military base and clean shaven, no facial hair, like a very militant, like no personalities, no identities, then it's about the team, not the player, and then you don't have to pay your players as much. And then baseball doesn't change, so they stay that way for 70 years. It's
about
a
the
dumb
team, not the
rule.
player. You said it right there.
It's 100% about, but you should be able to express yourself. You should be able to have the freedom of expression. Should be a thing. You're not a military base, okay? You're a baseball team and you're a player, and you should be able to, and also I think that there's a sense of like. Style improves play. I think like Deion Sanders says it best, look good, play good, pay good, live good. I think sometimes when sometimes when you're playing in a game and you're playing basketball, you got an arm sleeve, you're playing football, you got certain amount like gloves, whatever, eye black. Like sometimes your style makes you just play better because you just feel better, you feel more loose. And I think that the ability to have a beard should absolutely be in play. Tattoos too, they should get a mascot, they should have better merchandise. They're freaking gray, they're boring. Names on the back of the jersey.
Better
all that.
merchandise. Whoa.
I'm buying this because personally I always think it's a jump scare when like players with beards get traded to the Yankees and then they shave it and I'm like, yeah, that's what you look like. So I'm buying it just so I won't have that jump scare anymore.
I'm also buying it because I think this is a great idea for them to do because I think that like the rule was like originally like scaring off some players. So like I feel like they had the opportunity to get they could have had the opportunity to get a great player, but he had a beard and he didn't want to shave it. So he's like, I'm not going to go to the Yankees now. So now that this rule is gone, I feel like they might be more in play for
They can sign
better, very good bearded players. Good job.
Yep. So I will also go by on this one, and I'll also go over my top 5 since we skipped over me last time.
Oh, no.
So my number 1 is Ohtani, and then at 2 I got Judge. At 3 I got Soto. I wish I could put Witt at 4, at 3, but I mean, who say this is not just one really, really good, one season, and then he's going to drop off a little bit. I mean, the Soto just has a better resume than Witt, so that's why I put him up at 3.
It's
What
still
is-
sell.
Okay, we're gonna figure out what that says in a second. And then I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this.
be
I'm just prepared for this last one. At 5, I've actually got a tie. If Acuna comes back from injury, I got Acuna, but the surprise one, I got Paul Skeens.
Interesting. That's crazy,
like it.
especially since he's a rookie. But yeah,
I
I would debate you with that one, but we don't have time. So our next buy or sell is that the MLB should implement robot umpires.
So I'm selling on the robo umps. I say that just because I don't like the idea of human umpires being gone from the game completely, because I don't like change, and I like to keep the same game that's been played in the 50s, 60s, 70s with actual umpires. So if we just
20s.
it's basically just how we're moving to AI. We're gonna move baseball to AI now. No, but I do really like the ABS challenge system that they've implemented in spring training. I think that's a great idea. It needs to move to the regular season. I think it's worked out well so far, and I haven't seen much hate on it. So no robo umps, yes ABS.
I agree with Riley. No robo umps. Yes, ABS. I just think umpires, obviously tradition, but they also just add a fun aspect to the game. Like I love, like strikeout calls. I love, hearing strikes called. I think it just adds a lot to baseball, and it would feel like a different game without it.
Mm-hmm.
I have sell, but
So do-
spelled a little differently because I wanted to be a little cool.
Wow.
I have a quote from Max Scherzer that basically humans should be judged by humans.
Mm-hmm.
Max Scherzer is a credible source. There you go.
So that's okay. I like I said sell, but y'all are crazy. It's objectively worse. I don't like AIs replacing humans, and that's annoying. I think that human umpires are not great, and I think that it's fun to watch people mess up. Just like how in football, if they want to get rid of, I told this to Drew earlier, if football wanted to get rid of instant replay, it'd be so much more chaotic and weird and so much worse, but it'd be so fun and interesting and stuff. I wouldn't want that because I love football and want it to stay perfect. I don't love baseball as much, so I want to keep it chaotic and I want to keep it weird. I want to see horrible calls and I want to see a messy game. If they want to remove an outfielder, I would vote for that too. And this is kind of the same thing. Where it's just make the game more chaotic and weird and messed up and dramatic and stuff. So I think y'all are crazy for selling because y'all love baseball. So I think it's a weird take for y'all because it would make the game way better. But personally, I agree because I like chaos. This is like the going to bat rule for me, where it's yeah, sure, it'd be chaotic and it'd be weird.
We like keeping the same classic game. You want to change it up and do
Absolutely, yeah. I think the baseball's too much like the 50s version of baseball.
I agree more with you because I think it would be more chaotic with humans than without humans because humans make faulty errors
and
and
they
it's
eject, they
it
can
changes
eject
the
the
game.
coaches and the players.
If they put a robot ump in and they did horrible and had the worst out of the strike zone calls, I'd be oh, this is better. I love this.
I don't
This is
think
hilarious.
it would
Yeah.
though. I think it would be perfect.
I think it would be perfect too. But yeah, we got it.
Okay. I will go sell on this one. I just like the chaos of fans
Yeah.
going crazy for a bad call, and it's just insane when fans lose their mind over a really, really awful call. I just love the insaneness of baseball. I love umpires.
Okay, well, anyways, that is a wrap for today's episode of Touching All Bases. As always, a huge thank you to everyone behind the scenes who makes this show happen, as well as our many, many fans for watching the show. We'll be
Millions.
back next week with more hot takes and baseball chatter. But until then, stay updated on all things baseball by checking out our Instagram at Touching All Bases, where we will be posting and recapping all 30 MLB teams in the 30 days leading up to opening day. So as always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.
Peace.